Can you hear us now?
That's why churches didn't make any comments.
Now it's working?
It's working now.
Yeah, make sure Steve mutes. Or mute them all, and then they can. She said in the first meeting, she didn't have one. That's probably why the churches didn't comment.
I think we're good now.
Okay, can you all hear us? Thumbs up if you can. Okay, all right. Okay, Commissioner Reed, you had a question. Sorry for the technical glitches. An explanation if you want to put that map back up.
Yeah,
I don't know if this will help you.
so Commissioner Reed was just asking which one of the colors was signified as the zoning. He said he was having a hard time telling on this map. So the tan color is A1. What's touching on the top west portion of the parcel where it's orange below that is C1. And then directly to the south across 81st North where it's a brighter orange, that zoning there is C2. Does that answer your question?
That is my question, and I will ask further questions when you finish.
Okay. And then just to continue on, this is just kind of an aerial photo that shows the lay of the property, and that's all that I have.
I'm sorry, but there is no video now.
Well, let's see here. Probably because I didn't reshare after I left the meeting.
And our cameras shut off down at the bottom.
There you go.
Okay, you can see now?
Yes.
Okay. So that's just an aerial photo of the property that shows the lay of the property as it is, and that's all that I have as far as presentation. Any questions?
You may want, we do have a new commissioner here to explain the differences between C1 and C2.
So C1 is just a general commercial. It's lighter use. I don't have the list of all the allowed uses here in front of me. There's like 20 uses that are allowed, but C2 is a heavier usage allowance than C1. There's more manufacturing. Let's see here, I can pull it up. Let's go over it really quick here. On the screen.
We, in the hearing, didn't we go through each of the uses?
Yeah, and it was in the minutes.
Should be in the minutes.
Through the hearing uses, but these are, when you go to C2, so it basically says any use permitted in the C1 zone, and then there's a list of about 19 other allowed uses, which includes service stations, oil and gas storage, wholesale bulk gasoline, manufacturing, mixing, processing, and selling of hay grain, other livestock feed, coal, lumber, and timber yards, stone cutting and monument works, building materials storage yards, hauling and storage, including railroads, trackage stations, hatcheries, veterinary hospitals, public garages, and public parking lots, assembly and sale of farm, mining, and similar equipment, machinery, and vehicles, but excluding junk and salvage yards and auto wrecking yards, caretakers' dwellings, milk distribution stations, creameries, bottling works, bakeries, confectionery plants, dehydrating plants, and other food preparation plants, the operation of which is not obnoxious by reason or emission of odors, service establishments such as dyeing, cleaning, or laundry, wholesale distributing houses and warehouses, and then any uses permitted in C1. And so it kind of just goes through a hierarchy. C2 is the highest level of commercial that you can have with the most extreme uses.
Okay.
C1 allows within shopping neighborhood commercial.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chair, I've got a question, so I'll kind of follow up, and I apologize, I'm down now further in your notes, and so I can see clearly the zoning. It just, because of the shape of the lots, and I know there was some discussion about that during the planning and zoning meeting.
Yep.
It's, you consider this somewhat problematic? So kind of somewhat lock in that 1A1?
There have been other in the past of zoning requests that we've had that have been like this, that I think the previous ones have been, there's some that have been not approved. But yeah, it kind of, if this was approved, you have to think about that it leaves that A1 lot basically is one zoned A1 lot in between everything, but it does touch on two sides, and that's why it meets the eligibility to be able to apply. And it falls within a rural center, which also means that it can be any of the, it could be C1 or C2. Those are allowed uses there. Steve, did you have anything you want to add on that? I know we talked about that extensively, but.
Yeah, this is Steve. We did have some issues. A couple other rezones that we've done recently where we have really addressed the home effect of in and out on going down a road. Preferably, to make it cleaner, it would be more appropriate if all of the properties were involved in the rezone, with the center lot where the house is. That would eliminate that home effect on the property. It would be my recommendation that that's something that we really need to address if we're consistent in the latter decisions that we've been doing at the commissioner's level.
That's all I have.
I've got my notes kind of intermingled. What was the vote of the planning commission level?
The vote, they all voted, it was anonymous to approve.
Okay, Mr. Coster, or representative?
I can talk probably from right here, right?
Yeah.
Commissioner. So Blake Jolly with Connect Engineering, 1150 Holly Park Drive here in Idaho Falls. You all have the minutes, so I'm not gonna go over those from the planning and zoning meeting either. The one thing I might bring up is that it does touch those commercial zones on the northwest and the southeast side. Even though the road carries the A1 designation, I think that will eventually change to the adjacent zones that are there. And the other thing that we wanted to bring up was the adjacent property owners, the one in the middle and on the other side, have all contacted Mr. Coster and are leaning towards that same type of discussion of moving towards the commercial, from what I understand. So, or it expressed interest in that. So with that, I don't know, that's Mr. Coster might be able to add to or take away from what I just mentioned, but that's my understanding.
Do you have anything from those owners expressing that in writing, or?
I do not.
Okay.
I just talked to them verbally, and they're waiting to see what happens to mine. Then they're both adjacent as well. Bob Perry to the west of me is already adjacent to the RJ Taylor piece.
Yeah, are any of those neighbors on Zoom?
No, not that I see.
A couple of them I don't recognize, or they just have a number and then an iPad. Okay. Okay, anything else you want to add? We'll open it up for public testimony. Anybody wish to testify on this? You can just go ahead right from there.
We were wondering what the use is gonna be for, what was for. We're neighbors up the street from where this is at. What's this gonna be used for?
It'll be used for whatever was allowed in that C2 zone. We can't really dictate
Dictate or tell
what they do. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that's, do you have any questions on the list of uses that were allowed there?
it's a pretty wide list, so.
Yeah, it's
anything
a
can be
pretty,
used there.
pretty big band of things that can be done, and obviously some of those things aren't.
What are your concerns?
Well, they're gonna detract from our property up the street. The other thing is, when-
They're already storing things there.
We need a name and an address first.
yeah, already storage.
Can you give us your name and address?
My name is Bob Hanson,
Okay,
3165 East, 81st North.
okay.
And there's already stuff that's being stored there at the present time. But the thing that is really deterrent from it is the fact that that road, 81st, is the only through street from the old highway 93 to Hit Road. It's the only one, from Beach's Corner to Yukon. So when they closed down Fairview, they didn't bother, when they built the overpass, they didn't bother to put a road along the side of the freeway so that the traffic could go that way instead of everything going up that road. So everything now is going up that road. There's no stop, there's no speed signs on that road. So we're getting all kinds of traffic coming through there. So this is gonna make more traffic coming through there because it's gonna be commercial. And there's a lot of families, young families on that road, and it's just gonna be more hassle for traffic, and I think it's gonna be a detriment to the price of the property up that road. I've spoken to the Scoresbys, who is right on the end. I've talked to Nate Blanchard, Shooks, myself, Bears, Jeremy, Hanson, across the street, and none of us are in favor of that.
Well, you're talking on that. Could you pull up a map so we can kind of see,
I'm gonna pull up the.
Yeah, pull it up and look at that.
so that we can kind of see what you're
Right.
explaining? So,
And I'm Jeremy Hanson, I live 2 doors down from him on 3069 East, 81st North. We have actually called the county on this before, and they told us they would get the band out to check the traffic, they would put a police officer there, and none of this has been done. And those people roll up and down that road a lot faster than they're supposed to go. And I have grandkids out there, 7 of them, and I'm trying not to keep them out there. My dog actually got hit a month ago because the people were hauling butt and couldn't stop on the ice. So this is a big concern for the families on there, and I'm not sure where they're getting their information that people are okay with this. I understand Brent Lott just to the east, maybe, because he can't do anything else with that property other than farm it right now. But yeah,
Can you go out so we can see the major roads that he's talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Point with your cursor where he's talking about.
So this
those
is,
roads.
this is 81st,
Okay,
right here. This road right here, I believe is 25th.
That's Hit Road.
that's Hit Road, so we get a lot of people turning off at Hit, going across 81st already.
And then 81st comes down here and ties into.
That's
15.
93, the old 93.
Old 93, yeah.
And they took Fairview out, and then Tower used to actually have an access, or was it Telford? Now the only other one is clear down on St. Leon to Telford, so. Tower they closed first, then they closed Fairview, and then they put the overpass in at 81st. And ever since they put the overpass in, of course, we've had more traffic because that's an access onto the overpass. But a lot of the things that would have changed, it would have been the gravel pit that Williamses wanted in, and now I understand that Steve Andrews has his own C2, and that's probably to sell it before he dies, but if we get a business in on that street, we're obviously gonna have more traffic from each side of it, and unless they buy the piece in between, I don't understand what they're gonna do there. I mean, I would like to know what they're gonna do there, but obviously can't ask that question. But even as it is right now, there's stacks of tires sitting out in front of the place, and I don't know. It's a concern for us and our families there on that street.
Can you zoom in so we can see what's on that, the piece of property currently going as close as you can?
Right here.
Yeah.
On Mr. Coster's behalf, he has cleaned the backside of that property up very nicely. I mean, he has gone in and done some very good work on it and improved it very nicely, but there are still things that are right out front. I mean, if they'd be rolled to the back, it wouldn't be such a big deal, but I mean, he's enclosed the barn, he's taken all the fencing down, he's improved the property, he's put a metal roof on it. Very, very nice, very well done on a lot of the things that he's done. But our biggest concern on this is the traffic that we might have with whatever we don't know is going on there.
Go more to the north, toward Dog Lakes. What's all that in there now?
Mr. Commissioner, this is an old picture, those aren't there anymore.
The roads?
Yeah, those are just trails.
Yeah, they're just horse trails.
In the field, there have been animals, so the trails are gone, and then those two other structures to the north of that barn aren't there anymore either.
Okay.
Yeah, the gentleman that used to own that property actually owns the property behind it now when he built a new house there, when they did the row estate, so.
We probably ought to be getting names as we go, because but I think you can recognize voices when you get the minutes together on this, hopefully. Okay, anybody online wish to testify on this? Okay, any questions by the commission before we close this?
Well, I don't know if Steve wants to weigh in anymore, or certainly Austin or Michelle. I still have some concern with the shape of the property. But I guess I don't have a specific concern. I'll have to talk with Steve about it later. I really don't have anything to bring up on the record other than what has been brought up. So no, I don't have any further questions.
Something Steve mentioned, you may want to clarify, where you go from C1 to A1 back to C2. You said at other areas, that's kind of a piano key type deal that we've had discussions in some other areas. Tell us where those were or what you can remember on those.
Okay, the most recent one that we had considered was down on 49th South. It was next to the large storage buildings. We had a commercial zone, agriculture with a house on it. They were petitioning to go to extend to a commercial on the piece that was east of it. It did have access to commercial zoning to the rear of the property. And then the next parcel to the east was agriculture. So it's basically the same situation as we're dealing with here. On that particular one, the commissioner's decision was to deny that rezone request because of the impact that it would create on the residential aspect of the agriculturally zoned property with the residents on it. The conclusion of that one was recommendation that it was premature and that until they had the other parcel participating in the rezone, that it would be an inconsistent land use pattern. In years past, there have been a few that we have done that has a commercial agricultural on them. The one that's is the one on 40, I think it's 49th North, where we had the commercial, the feedlot out there, where Scars was. There were two residential properties on the south side of the road. The balance of the road is all commercial on the south side. In that instance, that rezone was approved. in that almost most majority of the property along the frontage of that road for that mile was already designated as commercial use except for 3 tracks.
Could I request that we make the findings of both of those part of this record for us to review?
I was gonna say that, we can get those over to you for review, so.
And then in case I forgot, the minutes from the planning and zoning, all the information is without objection to be made part of the record. Mr. Hanson?
I just have one comment. If you do decide to change that to commercial, if you could put a frontage road on there so that they could go into it from the backside, that would be more beneficial than changing it the way it is at the present time.
Okay.
Chairman, may I have one more question? And I don't know if the developer would want to have a chance to respond, but I guess I'm kind of realizing is what's given me a little bit of pause is it almost feels a little bit like a spot zone where it curves around and is surrounded by so much A1. I understand it does connect, and it did make me feel better when I realized that 1A1 on the bottom side is a road. And so across that, it connects to C2. So that made me feel a little better about it. But I don't know, Steve, does it appear at all like a spot zone to you, to use that term?
Well, the consistency of the zoning along the frontage was brought up as an issue of non-compliance for appearance of almost being a spot zone on the last decision. And the reason for it is you're approving zonings on something that's inconsistent with the zoning that's adjacent to on both sides of the property. That's a classic example of a spot zone. Yes, it does have access on the north. None of that property is developed. And if you go across to the south, we had the similar situation on the last rezone because they were immediately adjacent to commercial on the south side of that parcel. The real impact is whether if they want to maintain the residential values or the agricultural uses of the tracts that are there, being commercial on both sides of it can create a significant impact on the valuation of the residential use of the property.
Which I think should be distinguished between the technical legal definition of a spot zone and incompatibility, because we've had issues on spot zones, and this appears to not be a spot zone technically.
I agree.
But that doesn't bind you on anything you want to consider on the other considerations that Steve has talked about.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Mr. Coster?
Terry Coster, 391 Firethorn, Idaho Falls, Idaho. I don't mind disclosing what my plan is for that.
Doesn't hurt.
It's just gonna be storage. It'll be non-insulated storage.
Storage units.
Storage units.
Steel structures, traffic.
And that zone, that area is a designated node for this on the county map. That's why Holt's commercial is there, several other commercials, the other storage unit right there on it.
Yeah, that's the one just kind of off the freeway.
Yes, right by the old Sinclair station, it's been Chinese, all that. It's right there. It's a designated node in the county for this type of use.
Okay. Okay, any other questions, comments? With that, we'll call this hearing to a close. We'll take the issue under advisement. Planning and zoning staff will visit with each of the commissioners individually and formulate some findings. We'll meet to discuss those. If we have any differences, we'll discuss those among the commissioners, but there won't be any additional public testimony taken, and we'll do that with the required 48-hour notice. Generally, but not bound to, those are scheduled during the Wednesday road and bridge meeting. So best thing to do is watch our agenda and our calendar. Okay, thank you.